Good morning and welcome to the Independent Gyms series of Meet the Brand, where we talk to our partners about their businesses and how they can support you as independent gym owners. Today, we're talking to the UK's leading business equipment leasing and finance supplier, otherwise known as Johnson Reed, who I have personal experience in using myself when I was a gym owner, so can very much vouch for them. However, I'm going to hand over to Phil and Jamie in case you need any more convincing. They're going to do a business overview, and then we'll come back at the end and learn how we can get in contact with them and any questions that we may have. So I'll pass over to you guys.
Thanks very much, Amy. Thanks, Amy. So Johnson Reed, I mean, we've been closely linked with the Independent Gyms Facebook group since its inception. The independent gyms through the UK are a core sector and a core industry and clients that we've helped for a long time. So I've known Rob through various guises, roles he's had in the industry in the past as well. And as the group has grown, we've wanted to expand our links, our support and really share. And that's the reason for today, just to sort of help independent gym owners, whether part of the group or not, learn a little bit more about Johnson Reed and about me and obviously Phil, who's on here as well today. So are you running the slides, Phil? Are you? And yeah, so on to Johnson Reed and who we are and what we do really. So 20 years ago we were formed. We were originally based in Hazel Grove. We moved to Stockport in 2007. We fund, that slide slightly out of date, we're probably lending in the region of about £25 million that we source, arrange for clients. We are 100% independent. We are both broker and lender, and this is a really important aspect. As we've developed and evolved, we realised that one of the biggest positives was that the client can actually get close to the underwriter, the decision maker on a transaction. And the fact that we have these close relationships with lenders means that we're actually speaking with an underwriter. We're presenting a case, we're having an adult conversation, talking about pros and cons, and ultimately getting close to an approval or a deal as quickly as possible. About 6-7 years ago, we expanded that by lending on our own book as well. So we're now starting to put some skin in the game, make those decisions. It's actually helped us become better lenders because we've really felt the pain that a lender will have when actually having a direct agreement with a client. But it's also allowed our lenders to get a good feel for the fact that we're learning, we're expanding, we're growing. And actually, if we see the strength in a client and we're willing to lend a bit of money, then we think you should too. And actually, that's worked quite well with what we call syndicated or partnership deals, where if the client's wanting quite a large amount of money, but their financials aren't quite strong enough, we will sometimes share that risk. And that's where Johnson Reed's lending books really come to the fore. One thing that's happened through the pandemic, it has forced and pushed us to build technology that's making finance more accessible for clients as well. So we've developed our own in-house proposal management system, eDoc signing platform. We can now approve, sign and pay out for clients in a day. I'm not going to promise you that happens every time, but it can happen. We're no longer reliant as much as we ever were on things like post or timeframes for waiting for lenders to rifle through a number of cases. This is now about speed, efficiency, and like I said, that proximity to the actual underwriter who's making the decisions, which in this case, when it's our own lending book, is us, our credit committee internally. So yeah, our pool of lenders who are well-established banks, independent finance companies who you'll recognise quite a few names. They sponsor large football tournaments, rugby, cricket. We have those good links with them, and they're very supportive, and that helps.
I'm quite glad this screen's up, because one of the questions I had when I was doing my I always sort of check your website on stuff before I jump online, and one of the things on your list was that you finance quirky kit, and I was like, what is quirky kit? It really baffled me. So that was on my list of, please define what quirky kit is.
Absolutely. So again, if you were to compare traditional and non-traditional finance, high street banks, old school traditional lenders associate asset finance with diggers, dumpers, trailers, vehicles, commercial plant and machinery. And the reason for that is that they define residual value in that asset. They know what it will be worth in year 1, 2, 3, 4. And actually their risk then is only financing the depreciation, the actual drop in value in that time. A term called being asset secure is commonplace. So, as you say, your high street banks love funding property, they love funding vehicles, they love funding plant. Quirky kit is a phrase that we've used to coin everything that probably the most mission critical operational equipment that a business needs, but doesn't necessarily fit into that mold.
Okay.
So, in other words, once it's been purchased, it's probably worth half its value straight away.
Yeah.
In some cases, we finance software, which is actually full fresh air and not worth anything to anyone else.
Yeah.
That is the core definition of quirky kit. Mission critical, important for the client, but actually no internal residual value at all.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so if you're to look at the sort of core products, we provide lease, loan, and hire purchase. And if you exclude hire purchase, because that is funding our traditional finance, that is for your vehicles, for your plant, we still support that. But our USP, our real strength, and where we sort of chip in is with leasing of quirky equipment. And often for a gym owner, that could be anything from your CV, your strength, your free weights, your flooring, your aircon, your EPOS, your access control, your signage, your air conditioning, your lighting. If everything that you can view, point at, and see within the frame of your premises, there's a good chance we can probably finance it. I'll keep it short and sweet, but the reason we can do that is because we do quite strong supplier checks. So as long as the equipment's new, as long as the project is new build, as long as the suppliers that you're choosing are strong, established, and we know they're going to do a good job, then we see that risk as one worth taking. And that's why we can be very flexible with equipment types. One of the key advantages of financing more of a project is that actually your business owner then has more cash free to spend on other aspects of the business. So that could be marketing plan, could be staff training. It might be seed funding for the next site. And by financing more equipment, you can actually roll your sites out quicker. So there's a number of reasons why tried and trusted entrepreneurs who work in lots of sectors live and die by finance and leasing their equipment, because it's a smart thing to do. I think we work with a franchise of accountants, and one dead simple piece of advice they give is that if an asset appreciates in value, use your own money. If it depreciates in value, use someone else's money. And that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
And the third product there, flexi loans. So there are situations and circumstances where we are financing something, or a client has a need for business finance, but there is no equipment involved at all. And in that case, we have a small subset panel of lenders who will provide a business loan, unsecured, usually, with no form of equipment involved at all. And that might be for a VAT bill spread over 3 months, corporation tax spread over 12 months. It might be design of a new website. That's actually labour rather than software licenses. So again, we can finance that. And typically you'd spread it over 6 months up to 5 years, just like we would with our leasing and equipment finance products as well.
Cool. Sounds good. I mean, yeah, it's straight away, there's things that you do that I didn't even know that you did, things like the website finance, all that sort of stuff. And I think the statistic that stuck out for me is that the Leisure Database one, the 63% are willing to invest, more. And I think going back to the gym owner's head that I had on, obviously previously, it was a terrifying decision to contemplate something on finance. I was very much like, no, I'm too scared to put something on finance. But actually, if you know that 63% of your members would be willing to pay more, that should be security enough. And that's recent research that they would pay more. If there's a bit of kit you're dying to get in and a lot of members are asking for, as you said, it's not a scary decision to take out finance, because you're doing it on a well thought out basis. And obviously it helps that I've had personal experience with Johnson Reed, so I can vouch for the service. And I think the key thing is you do get to know the clients. I knew, before I joined Independent Gyms, I knew you all. I could pick up the phone. It's a personable company. It's not there's probably always that fear that you're just treated as a number, but actually, we are independent businesses. And I think particularly in the independent sector, gym owners like who they're working with. It's really important because, our businesses are our babies. It's not a chain. We're not employed to be in there. That is our life usually, and that's our money that we're spending. So it's a much bigger decision. But yeah, I think it's great. And I think hopefully more people will realise everything that you do, which is probably not everything they thought you did, because there's definitely things in there that might make people think whether they've either taken finance in previously and want to extend on that, or whether they're new owners that are contemplating it.
All right, so just in regards to case studies, a few things that we've worked, a few companies, a few schools, a few colleges that we've worked with over the years. Loughborough University, this was with the supplier Black Box. We're able to finance the Times Sport of the Year University of the Year 2022. As you can see some of the photos of that space, I'll just actually shift this slightly out of the way. You can appreciate the scale and the size of the space at Loughborough University, with the mezzanine across the top as well. We financed their strength and conditioning zone. It was called the Power Base, where their students, and also they run various different clubs, different sectors. So Anthony, working with Black Box, was able to kit out and fit out and supply Loughborough University. Schools is something which we, and I suppose educational institutions is something that we've picked up a little bit more on quite recently. It's not something obviously that's also relevant for all independent gyms, but it shows the actual scale of the size of the places we can actually do. Toning it down, I suppose, to a more sort of smaller scale, Rowfield Leisure. This is a charity-run leisure institution in a Grade 2 listed building. So these have got a couple of different spaces across that building. As you can sort of see, they kind of are quite creative with how they use different areas in that kind of old building. So at the bottom left, you can see the climbing space. At the top, then in the sort of main hall, I suppose it is, you've kind of got the strength and conditioning zone with various equipment from cardio up to strength training as well. That was with the supplier Adgen and Precor. They've been run for over 25 years. Again, they're a charity-run business, mainly sort of giving back to the community, offering a sort of leisure space for locals to come to. Then, lastly, this was a place that I actually went and visited yesterday. I've just kind of driven up from Newcastle this morning. Ex-England rugby player Mark Wilson. He basically found the supplier Black Box that he wanted to work with. And was, again, like how Amy, you said earlier, you were quite conscious of using finance, but with a phone call, because Black Box recommended Johnson Reed, with a phone call with Anthony was very, very quickly able to almost kind of completely shift his mind to his and his attitude towards leasing. One thing I think leasing has is a stigma attached to it. You hear the word leasing, and a lot of people immediately alarm bells go off. And to be honest, that was sort of me. When I first started here at Johnson Reed about 5 months ago, I didn't know much about the financial world, if I'm honest, coming from education. But as sort of time has gone on, I've kind of realised that without finance companies like ours, a lot of smaller and independent businesses, or like Number 6 Performance, where I went and visited yesterday, they simply wouldn't be able to exist, because people don't have, in that case, a spare 35,000 in order to invest in equipment. So they need, and they're able to work with us to provide the finance, working closely with the supplier, and we're able to kit out that new facility. The pictures actually don't do it justice, because I was just there yesterday. I've not been able to update the pictures on this, but the space is incredible. It really, really is. It's you can sort of tell by the top right image there. It's almost in like in a metal corrugated, what do they call it? Almost like a shipping container, I suppose, but that's not really doing it any justice, because it's really, really smart. And then they've got insulation in there. It's all black and white themed, like the pictures. I just stole these from Mark's Instagram, but it's all black and white themed. I presume because he's a Newcastle fan as well. But it was really, really, really smart. I went and visited there yesterday. I'm going to be putting together a video case study, which is something that we often offer our customers as well. Some free marketing materials for customers who are often newly established, or they're doing an expansion. It's just an added benefit of working with us and working with me. I'm able to sort of visit, and I've done a big push on video marketing materials since I started here about 5 years ago. I'm conscious that you won't be able to hear the sound of this video case study, just to show you an example of what it is I'm going to be doing for number 6, hopefully next week. But a couple of months ago, I visited CrossFit Rush 242, which was a new CrossFit gym, which was kitted out using UK Supreme Fitness. Again, working with Anthony, who is our fitness finance guy. We assisted and helped a personal trainer called Nico in his sort of ambition to open up a CrossFit gym. So he found the space, which was a sort of new build apartment area in Spinningfields, between the border of Spinningfields and Salford in Manchester. And I went and visited just to sort of create some promotional material for him that he was able to post on his socials, that he was able to post on websites, just to sort of, I suppose, inspire a bit of like shouting about it across socials and inspire a bit of movement and hopefully some customers to him. I'm conscious you won't be able to hear the music, but it's not the end of the world. You'll get the idea. I'll just play it through just so you can have a look at the sort of marketing materials that we could make. I'll mute it from my end as well so it doesn't come through.
Members can expect to be a part of a community. We train together, but we also do social activities in the local area. We're so close to Manchester City Centre. There's so much going on around it. If you're looking for a PT, but maybe at a bit more of a affordable cost, then that's what we provide. So we provide that small group, but that intimate setting.
Okay, so yeah, that was just something that I made quickly for Nico, and it's something which, to be honest, since I've started here at Johnson Reed, I've absolutely loved doing. Going, seeing the customers, seeing people who are absolutely passionate and delighted with how their business has started because they've used our finance, used the suppliers who we work with so closely, and yeah, it's great just to hear the personal stories to all businesses, and yeah, it's something which I've absolutely loved doing. So yeah, again, the other one for Nico on the left, and this is something that we offer social media wise as well, just some promotional videos that we've started to do in all sectors which we work in, and made a little short snappy sort of teaser one for Nico before the main video case study came out. But again, this is an offer that something that we offer here at Johnson Reed, is supporting hands-on with your marketing materials, whether you're wherever you are really across the country. If it's worthwhile and it's going to be a good case study for us to shout about, and it's promotional material for you as well, it's something that we're offering our customers, and it's something which I think is going down really, really well with them, and people are really, really grateful for it whenever I've gone down. So just from a supplier perspective now, because obviously I'm thinking from earlier we were talking about business owners, we were talking about actually contact people who are like yourself, Amy. We're a new start gym facility, or we're an independent gym facility, but something which another group of people, or I suppose another area of people who we work with, are introducers and our suppliers, i.e. those are people who are supplying equipment and putting and introducing potential deals and introducing customers to us for financial support. So what Johnson Reed will do for those people, you'll get a dedicated account manager. As I said, depending on which sector it is that you're working in, you'll get a dedicated account manager, somebody who is a member of our sales team who will work with you really, really personally. One thing in which I think all customers who I've gone and visited during the case studies have said is how personal and how much they've appreciated the communication throughout all the stages of the development, in firstly actually acquiring the finance, way up until actually fitting out the actual facility in the gym. If there's any updates from our end, it's something that we really, really want to do. We want a hands-on approach here, and sort of like a fuss-free, easy communication. approach, and that's something which all of our clients have really enjoyed. Again, you'll get complete corporate finance identity, marketing support, which we've touched on at the point of sale and also once it's finished, and a guide quoting tool showing simple tax savings as well. So they'll articulate and explain that all over to you on the phone about how that sort of process works as well. Anything you want to add, Jay?
No, not at all. I think that's covered most of it, actually. But we talked about having like a team of people that you can rely on as an operator. And I think the same applies as an equipment supplier. It really is a partnership. It's essentially getting some financial intelligence about prospects. If you talk about sales funnels, these are the things that we help and assist with to really sort of progress clients to the point from initial inquiry through to sale and installation and payment as quickly as they can and need it to happen. For a supplier with off-the-shelf items that are in stock and need delivering within a week, we have the time frame to do that. Most larger projects typically take up to sometimes sort of 6 to 12 weeks, so they're less time critical. But ultimately, there's more money at stake, and therefore payment terms, payment timing, and ensuring that everyone is comfortable with the process is just vitally important. So it's communication at that point.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I think just to sort of finalise and to wrap it all up, really, on the screen, this is where we are. I know we touched on it earlier, but honestly, the easiest thing to do is to pick up the phone. We'll allocate you and we'll put you in the right place with our sales team. Our sales team have got almost, I think, over a decade of experience in sales between them together. So picking up the phone and they will be able to treat you personally, communicate with you effectively in order to ensure that they are, I suppose, achieving and acquiring the right funds for you, whatever that may be, whether it is a lease, whether it is a loan. But yeah, it's picking up the phone, dropping us an email, or as I said, filling in a web lead or a web form on our website. And all information, as you can see, is on the screen there.
Perfect. We'll obviously be seeing both of you at our winter conference. One of you, both of you?
That's the plan.
Perfect. Okay, so obviously there's a big opportunity, nice opportunity to meet you in person at the event as well, 30th of November, so it will come around before we know it. So that's it for now. If anyone's got any questions, obviously you can drop us a line, or you can drop Phil or Jamie, not James, a message as well. But that's it for now, and this will be available for playback, so it'll be on our YouTube channel and available for anyone else who wants it. So thanks, guys. Appreciate you dialing in, and we'll catch up soon.
Brilliant. Thanks, Amy.
Cheers. Thank you. Bye-bye.